Hey guys, welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're gonna go over a monthly market update for May 2023. Let's get into it.
All right, so in May in 2023, as far as sold listings go, April 2023 had 33 listings and May 2023 had 43 listings. If you look at it from May of 2022 to May of 2023, we had 66 in 22 and 43 in 23. So that number is a 34% decrease in listings, but as far as we're going from month to month, the sold listings are more than they were last month.
Yeah, which I think is the best comparison for this stat to show exactly what's happening right now. Let's talk about new listings. In May of 2023, we had 60. So that's down 31% from 87 new listings in May of 2022, but it's up from 38 in April last month. So we're seeing some more product come to the market here in May, which is positive because as we've reiterated in previous months, we've been low on inventory. So
yeah, I think we're seeing some more inventory, which as we go on in this video, there's going to be some data that's a little bit alarming, maybe, but we'll be able to explain that as we go. As far as average sale price, this was really interesting because in 2023, in April, last month, we had 971,000 and change for the average sale price. And in May this year, we had, 1.24?
yeah, almost, yeah.
So, I mean, that seems alarming. So it's like, oh boy, people are getting way more money, but that's not the case necessarily. What we're seeing is what types of property are selling.
For sure.
So, I mean, in 2022 in May, we had about $1 million for an average sale price, 1.2. But again, the number's a little bit skewed because we saw more high-end single-family homes sell, which drove up the sales price.
Yeah. And I think the best number that to reference about the growth will be the 5-year average, which we can touch on that later in this video. But as a result, we are seeing some more single family homes sell now as opposed to in April, which is part of the reason why that number is so high. So prices, yes, they are still going up, but it is a little bit skewed, like Kevin said, because of the data. Now, this is another key statistic, average percent of selling price to list price. So this is where we're seeing a shift in the market. April, so last month we saw 100% sold to ask ratio. And now this month we're seeing 97.5. So that's down about 2.5%. Maybe you want to touch on kind of what you're seeing as a result of that.
Well, I think that number is hard to quantify necessarily because what happens sometimes in a market, people start to chase the market a little bit with their list price. And it's one thing that we can't really monitor. So the list to sell price could look a little bit different, right? So people are going in the market and they're going, hey, my house, I think it's worth X. And as a realtor, you try and give them an idea what the fair market value looks like based on what has sold. And everybody tends to put a little bit more onto it. So it takes a little bit of time in a market to shift that way. Because we've been in a seller's market for so long, we talked about last month more being in a balanced market, which I believe we still are. Maybe starting to swing to a buyer's market, but it's really hard to tell without seeing months and months and months of data. So that 2% or 3% almost difference, some of that could be tied up in what people actually list their property for.
For sure. Hey, if you guys are finding this video informative, make sure you reach out to us whether you're looking to buy or looking to sell. Now is important to connect with a realtor more than ever. So reach out to us. We're happy to help, whether that's days, nights, weeks. Make sure you call or text or email us. We're available at all times. So I'll have our information down below, and make sure you like and subscribe to the channel as well. It really does help us grow and benefit other viewers, giving them valuable content. End of month inventory. So this is a little bit interesting. So this month we had an end of month inventory of 103 active listings compared to April we had 96. Now, if we look at that from May of last year, that's 123. So we're down 16% when it comes to active listings at the end of the month, but we are increasing from April. And I think we'll reiterate this later, but I think it's kind of right around our 5-year average. So I don't think we need to spend too much more time talking about that. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Do you want to touch on months supply of inventory?
Yeah, so I mean, our month's supply of inventory, we're seeing the months of supply go up. We were 2.6 last month, so almost 2.5 months of inventory. We're getting close to 3 months of inventory, which is still, if you think about what I said last month, and the balance is 2 to 4 somewhere in there. So we're still in that balanced market, but we again are trending towards a buyer's market with having more months of inventory, which looks like it's trending that way.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I think it's important to note for buyers out there who aren't experienced in the Canmore market, Canmore's, if we're going to say buyer's market, it's different than some other places. We've talked about how sheltered and unique this market is here. Because it's, if we say buyer's market, it doesn't mean that there's deals and stuff happening all over the place. We see that average sold to ask has dropped, but again, list prices are up a little bit and sellers are pricing maybe a little bit more than what the property's worth. So it doesn't necessarily mean that there's a ton of deals, but it's basically allowing the buyers to become educated, continue to have conditional offers, that sort of stuff, which is good. It's healthy.
And on that point, even the listing I'm doing right now, making sure that your listing is ready to go. Yeah. Right? Because the buyers can be very picky and specific. So,
for sure.
Whether it's paint or updating countertops or things that can definitely put your house into that top echelon to bring an offer is important.
Which were things that we didn't have to do or sellers didn't have to do before that matter even more now. So
100%.
That is very important.
Yeah.
Let's move into talking about each category broken down. We're not going to get into specific property types quite yet, but we want to talk a little bit about 5-year averages, that stuff, because we feel like that's a good indicator of what's happening. So for sold listings, our 5-year average is 54 for the month of May, and we're sitting at 43. So basically it's trending upwards based on the last couple months, but we're kind of getting close to being right on par with the 5-year average.
Yeah, and I think that for sure, but I think if you look at the graphs, we will not know the implications of what COVID did to the market until we can have 5 or 10 years out and look back and go, what is this on the radar? Yeah. And so I think the 5-year average is getting back to normal. Yeah. Obviously COVID, March 9, 2019, 56 listings, and then, now 43, solds, now 43. So I think we're kind of getting back to normal.
I think so too.
But again, we'll have to see as we go. Yeah.
Definitely skews the data a little bit when it goes bananas for 2 years. Yeah. So
as far as new listings go, excuse me, we're seeing we're still not where we need to be with new listings. We were 81 is the 5-year average, and we're at 60. Yeah. So obviously we need some inventory, and that's a direct correlation to the month's supply.
For sure, right? For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think the positive note on that is we had 39 in April, and now we're at 60. So it seems like we're trending that way, and hopefully that continues.
Yeah, and it's that time of year too.
For sure.
People are more into the market in the spring.
You bet. Yeah. Month supply of inventory, we kind of touched on this before. Our 5-year average for May is 3.8 months supply. We're at 2.93. So still, below the 5-year average. Yeah. Again, with COVID, we don't know how that's going to affect things moving forward. But still a relatively reasonable number for month supply.
Yeah, again, somewhere between the 2 and 4 is a balanced market.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to strive for.
You bet. Average days on market to sell, 5-year average of 52, and our May average is 53. So we're bang on with the last 5 years on average for for days on market to sell.
Which is really good.
Yeah.
You know, we saw things sell so quick that it becomes a little bit of the normal.
Yeah.
You know, the interest rates, the Bank of Canada went up another 0.25% here to 4.75, the highest it's been since 2001. And so you look at that and you go, oh my gosh. But if you look at the averages over a long period of time, you know, 4.75 or 5% is not bad. 4 to 5% is really good.
Yeah.
We've just had such low interest rates for so long.
Exactly.
That it became normal.
Exactly.
So I think if you look at the averages, 52 days on the market is pretty good.
Average list price at closing, we saw a 5-year average of 960,000, and now we're at just shy of 1.3. So basically, we're seeing it grow consistently year over year.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you go back and look, you know, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, you know, in 2019, 740,000.
Yeah.
To, you know, in 2023, just over 1 million. So again, that Canmore, what you were talking about, we don't necessarily, kind of in a bubble here, we don't necessarily see the huge dips.
And I should clarify that this isn't average sale price at closing. It's list price. List price.
But they're pretty correlated.
They are.
When you look
So
at
why
the
don't you
sold.
move into sale price at closing and touch on that, and so the viewers can get an idea of how similar they are.
Yeah, so an average sale price, the 5-year average is 940,000.
Yeah.
And the average price, as we said before in the videos, 1.242 million. So you're seeing a steady growth.
Yeah.
And again, the graph basically mimics the list price.
For sure.
You know, where you've got steady growth and you know, things are happening.
And I think that the number we have here of 11% of year to date compared to the previous year to date, that's kind of the number or the percentage that I would recommend people reflecting on how the market's appreciated in the last year is 11%, not necessarily that 22% that we saw increase from last May, just looking at those months specifically.
Yeah.
But year to date data, 11%.
Yeah.
And that's kind of typically what we see. Obviously, pre-COVID, we were seeing, you know, anywhere from 5 to 10%. And now that kind of 10% range is what we've seen over the last 2 years.
Yeah, and that'll be interesting to see how that trends as we roll into a balanced market.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let's dive into specific property types. We'll start with residential. So for May of 2023, single family homes, we saw 11 sales for an average sale price of just over $2 million. Average days on the market for those single family homes is coming in at 73, and the average sold to ask ratio is hovering around 94%.
And it's interesting because so 11 sales, remember we were 940 sale price, 940K last month.
Yep.
1.2 this month, or 980 or something to 1.2. 11 sales this month, 7 last month. So there's where we were talking about that number changing.
Yeah, for sure. I'll go into townhouses here. Units sold, we had 8 sales for an average sale price of just over $907,000. Our average days on the market for those townhouses were 52, so right at the average for May, and an average sold to ask ratio of just under 98%. You want to touch on apartments?
So apartments, we had 8 apartments sell in May for an average sale price of $737.50. Apartment units sold, average days on market were 60, and the average sold to ask ratio was 98.5%.
Yeah. Half duplexes, we saw 5 sales for an average sale price of just over $1.5 million. The average days on the market for those half duplexes was 48, and the average sold to ask ratio was 97.81%. So we're basically seeing everything kind of stay around that 97% average.
Right. And that's in the residential side. So
do you want to go into investment properties?
Yeah, let's talk about investment properties. There's 2 types, as we've talked about in many of our videos. Hotel condos, short-term rental units, 10 sold in May. Average sale price of just over $900,000, $922,000. 35 days on the market. So again, that's a little bit lower than we're seeing in the residential side.
Yep.
And 99%, almost 100%,
Yeah.
sold to ask price. So that's, again, they're doing really well. We have seen a few price reductions in the last little bit. Again, it'll be interesting to see how that, whether it's from people chasing or the actual base price will change the market price.
And I think if any market is going to be directly affected by the interest rate increases, I would say that it's definitely the short-term rental market, just because they're difficult to finance as it is. So with increases, obviously, it makes it a little bit more difficult. But we're still seeing product move clearly with 10 sales in the last month. But I would say that our residential market is really starting to pick up, especially with the local Alberta community, I would say.
I would say we're seeing more single family, and we are seeing that trend in our business as well.
For sure.
Where we're having more single family sales happening in the month.
Now, tourist home, we had one sale. So this data is going to be a little bit, reflected of obviously that singular property. It doesn't necessarily mean that all tourist homes are kind of going around this price point. So the average sale price for that tourist home was $630,000. It sold in 14 days, so pretty quickly, and 99.21% of asking price was achieved. So that's your snapshot of the types of property and what we saw happen in the month of May. I think maybe we could just spend 1 minute here and touch on where we're kind of seeing it going. I know we've seen, some price reductions as of late. We're seeing some more inventory. What's your take on kind of where we're trending to, if we want to give the viewers a brief overview?
Yeah, I think we're trending towards a buyer's market. I really do. Unless things change from a interest rate perspective, from how much product we have in the market. Having said that, I don't think there's a panic.
No.
I think we're still in that balance of a good time to sell, good time to buy.
Yeah.
We've come out of a seller's market.
Yeah.
And so I think we're trending towards the buyer's market. And I think consumers can be confident in what's happening in the valley based on that overall average of 11%, 10% growth on property, with some peaks and valleys in there.
And I kind of expect that to remain the same in the coming year as well. Like we're still seeing prices increase, obviously. So a positive sign if you're looking to get into the valley or you're already in the valley, that we are obviously still appreciating. So that's all we have for you guys today. Thanks so much for watching our video. If you want some more information and some further detail, make sure you reach out to us directly. I'll have our information down in the description below. We always love doing these for you guys. So we'll see you next time.